Hi Potassium, happy Wednesday and happy Earth Day. I'm very excited about today. I have a wonderful story that goes along with our reduce, reuse, and recycle thing that we've been learning this week. And we also have some very cool art projects and activities planned for today. So hopefully you can participate. So since we've been studying about how we can better manage our resources, I thought it would be a very good idea to read the Lorax. I'm sure many of you have read it before, but I think it carries a very strong message about what happens if we just take a little bit too much, right? So let's go ahead and read the Lorax. I love the Lorax. I hope you guys enjoy it too. Oh, it's a big, heavy book. Let's begin. The Lorax. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town where the grickle grass grows? The old Onceler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler, don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkin on top of his store. He lurks in his lurkin, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of miff-muffer moof. And on special dank midnights in August he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you perhaps if you're willing to pay. So as I'm reading the story, pay attention to kind of what's happening to the environment, right? It's going to get pretty colorful right now, but just pay attention to see what happens if we just take advantage of our resources. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents in the nail in the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snuff, his secret strange hole in his grovelous glove. Then he grunts, I'll call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears alone. Slip! Down slips the whisper my phone to your ear, and the Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snuggly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long, long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swoomy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place. And I first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. Oh, they're so pretty, huh? So again, pay attention to the environment. It's very colorful, very green right now, and beautiful blue skies. And under the trees, I saw brown barbaloots frisking about in their barbaloot suits as they played in the shade and ate truffula fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those trees, those truffula trees. All my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. And these are the tufts. And these are the needs. The instant I finished, I heard a gazump. I looked, I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him? That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed. What's that thing you've made out of my truffle a tuft? Is he happy, you think? I don't think so. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a need. A needs to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat. But it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers, for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, Sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would pay that fool's need. But the very next minute I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute a chap came along, and he thought that the need I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Be quiet, if you please. I rushed across the room and in no time at all built a radiophone. I put in a quick call. I called on my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here, here's a wonderful chance for the whole Winsler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast, take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Winsler family was working full tilt. We were knitting knees just as busy as bees to the sound of the chopping of truffle trees. It's not just one tree anymore, huh? I don't know. Then, oh baby, oh, how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffle trees in one smacker. We were making knees 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I am the Lorax who speak for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go around, and my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Winsler, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. Well, that's not a very nice thing to think, is it? Are you paying attention to the environment too? What's happening to the color of the green and the color of the blue? Let's keep an eye on it. I meant no harm. I most truly did not. But I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory. I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons. I biggered the loads of the needs I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs. And I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when that old nuisance Lawrence came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax, he coughed and he whiffed. He sneezed and he snuffled, he snargled and sniffed. One slur, he cried with a cruffleless croak. One slur, you're making such smuggless smoke. My poor swimmy swans, why they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. Oh, look at that poor bird right there, the swimmy swan. Let's look at the sky now. Is it bright, bright blue still? Or is it starting to get a little darker? And the grass too, it's not as green anymore, is it? And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you've smuggled up around here. And there they go, flying away. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about gluppity-glup. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stop, making gluppity-glup, and also sloppily-slop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old once-learned man, you. You're glumping the pond where the hummingfish hummed. No more can they hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary. Oh no, and look at the green grass now and the blue skies. They're not like that anymore, huh? They're getting darker and grosser looking. Look at this poor pond, full of gluppity gloop. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say, bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more truffula trees into needs, which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack. From outside in the fields came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we heard the tree fall, the very last truffula tree of them all. Oh no. No more trees, no more needs, no more work to be done. So in time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smuggered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax, and I. Is there any green grass left? No, it's just gray, gray, barren land. And look at the sky, it's full of smoke now. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance. Just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day I've sat here and worried away through the years while my buildings have fallen apart. I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Once-Lear, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot. Nothing is going to get better. It's not. So catch, calls the Once-Lear. He lets something fall. It's a truffula seed, the last one of them all. You're in charge of the last of the truffula seeds, and truffula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new truffula, treat it with care, give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest, protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that is the end of that story. I really like that story because again, it shows you just how bad things can get if we get a little greedy and we use too much of the resources without being a little too careful. So that being said, I hope you guys can take a moment to plant a tree or two or a plant or two and just let us know how that's going.